Okay, thanks, Scott. At 6 o'clock, I'd like to call the May 6, 2025 Village Board meeting to order. And I'm going to lead us in the pledge this evening. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please, Tracy.
President Cohen.
Here.
Trustee Michaels.
Here.
Trustee White.
Here.
Trustee Lundy.
Here.
Trustee Barron.
Here.
Trustee Loney.
Here.
Trustee Schultz.
Here.
Wonderful, we have a quorum this evening. Up next, we have the swearing in of the newly elected officials. So we will, the existing board, we will resign our seats, and good luck to everyone in your future endeavors.
What's that?
I was going to steal your pen.
Ready?
Oh.
Did you mark on that?
Oh,
one? I didn't know. Okay,
Yeah,
then
that's
that's
all.
fine. Then that's fine.
I, Sue Stolo,
I, Sue Stolo,
having been elected to the office of President
having been elected to office of President
for the Village of Sugar Grove
for the Village of Sugar Grove
in the state of Illinois
in the state of Illinois
and the county of Kane,
in the county of Kane,
do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the state of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the state of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of President
of the office of President
for the Village of Sugar Grove, Illinois,
for the Village of Sugar Grove, Illinois,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability. I know this meeting is recorded. My parents are out of state. So Mom, Dad, I wish you could be here and I love you.
Yeah.
I, Anthony Special,
I, Anthony Special,
having been elected to the office of Trustee
having been elected to the office of trustee
for the Village of Sugar Grove
for the Village of Sugar Grove
in the state of Illinois,
and the state of Illinois,
in the county of Kane,
in the county of Kane,
do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm and swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the state of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the state of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of Trustee
of the office of trustee
for the Village of Sugar Grove, Illinois,
for the Village of Sugar Grove, Illinois,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability, so help me God. Sign up, not in line.
That's right.
It was blood.
I'm doing is in no particular order. Nora? I, Nora London,
I, Nora London,
having been elected to the office of trustee
having been elected to the office of trustee
for the village of Sugar Grove
for the village of Sugar Grove
in the state of Illinois
in the state of Illinois
and the county of Kane,
and the county of Kane,
do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I do solemnly affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the state of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the state of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of trustee
of the office of trustee
for the village of Sugar Grove, Illinois,
for the village of Sugar Grove, Illinois, to the best of my ability.
Do you want one to read them? I, Michael Roscoe,
I'm Michael Roscoe.
having been elected to the office of trustee
And been elected to the office of trustee
for the village of Sugar Grove
for the village of Sugar Grove
in the state of Illinois
in the state of Illinois
and the county of Kane,
and the county of Kane.
do solemnly affirm
Do solemnly affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the state of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the state of Illinois.
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
And I will discharge the duties
of the office of trustee
of the office of trustee
for the village of Sugar Grove
for the village of Sugar Grove
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
President Stillwell, I did want to have a ceremonial swearing in also.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
So I want to thank everybody for supporting me for my election and my wonderful wife Rita. She's not able to join us tonight. She has a broken leg and needs surgery. So I also had planned for a ceremonial swearing in, and former President Cronin, I would like to invite her and everybody that was on the board, and Shawn Michaels as well. You hired me, so, and Matt Bonney and Heidi. I want everybody to participate, and Brad as well, because it takes a team to accomplish anything in a village. So I think that's the way Jamie, Dave, so if everybody could please join us. I've worked with everybody here. Hard work, working on what we do. And I appreciate everybody's effort. As a department head, it takes a lot to get things accomplished. As a board member, they have to support you in your job. And so I appreciate everybody. Is that okay? Yep. All right.
Ready, sir?
Yes.
I, Anthony Special,
I, Anthony Special,
having been elected to the office of trustee for the village of Sugar Grove
having been elected to the office of village trustee for the village of Sugar Grove
in the state of Illinois
in the state of Illinois
and the county of Kane,
and the county of Kane,
do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the state of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the state of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of trustee
of the office of trustee
for the village of Sugar Grove
for the village of Sugar Grove
in Illinois to the best of my ability.
in Illinois to the best of my ability, so help me God. Thank you. Thank you. We'll still be here. Thank you. Thank you, Sean. I appreciate it. Our friendship, Matt and Brad. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good luck. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Mike, again, congratulations, welcome. And yeah, thank you.
Prior to starting the public hearing, I have one item that is not on the agenda and that is not required to be on the agenda. To the Honorable Village Board of Trustees, pursuant to the authority vested in me by Illinois law and the ordinances of the Village of Sugar Grove, I hereby veto the resolution approving the plat of subdivision for the Grove Area 1. A filing of the appeal stayed all proceedings. The filing of an appeal to the Planning Commission and Zoning Board of Appeals immediately stayed all proceedings related to the plat. The village code requires that once an appeal is filed, all action in furtherance of the decision appealed from must cease. The board was therefore without authority to consider, vote upon, or approve the plat or any associated expenditures. As the court in people related to Freeport Fire Protection District versus City of Freeport and people related to Turner versus Lewis found and made clear, once an administrative appeal is properly filed, jurisdiction over the matter transfers and all proceedings must be stayed.
Excuse me, President Stillwell. I call point of order.
Please state your point.
I think that we should defer to legal counsel on whether you can take action on an item that's not on the agenda. And if you'd like to discuss the topic, I request that we wait until the next meeting to place it on the agenda so that staff, board members, council can do their due diligence on the topic to better discuss it. If you, of course, can make a personal statement, but I believe that would go at the president's report at the end of the meeting and not now, but I defer to council in the parliamentary procedures for clarity on that.
Right, I mean,
Council has been consulted and your point is not well received. I'm going to continue reading the detail.
If the point is not well received, so you would deny it, then can I call for an appeal? Then I would need another trustee to appeal. Do I ask for another trustee to
You would need
appeal?
a majority vote to appeal.
I believe that I would like council to please, all I'm asking is for council to state whether or not this is okay. That's all I'm asking.
that no formal action can be taken. I think I confirmed with the mayor about making a statement, which the mayor's outlined. I guess it's not on the agenda per se. No
Yes.
formal action to be taken. I think I basically talked to the mayor about making a statement. I think the mayor's outlined her concerns about this. But again, for the record, there's nothing on this formal agenda with regards to this action.
Owen does not have jurisdiction over vetoes, and vetoes can be presented by the village president and are not required to be on the agenda.
I'm not sure, Jimmy, you want to come?
Yes, please.
If this isn't, my question is if this is an action, most actions need to be placed on the agenda. I just want to make sure we're doing everything in the proper way, and that's why I'm deferring to council.
Trustee, yes, Trustee Lundy, the veto does not, I dealt with this in other municipalities, the veto does not need to be on an agenda. And you can talk about comments that do not need to be on the agenda during the board meeting. This was the first thing on the agenda, and there is an appeal to the motion. There was an appeal and a motion made. I don't, on Robert's rules, that would, you had a motion and a second for the appeal for
Yes, I did.
the ruling of the chair. There'll be a supermajority vote, yeah.
So I have a question for council too.
Yeah.
I sent an email just questioning some of the legalities behind that. I never received anything back. Did you receive that email?
I did receive the email
So
yesterday.
Why was response never initiated on those questions?
I believe you sent the email yesterday.
So that discussion is out of order. So what we have now is a question about whether or not the vetoes
was to defer to council. So that was my question. So if you were saying you do not want council to comment on that,
OMA does not require a veto beyond that. I've been through that. The vote to overturn the veto, which is a statutory requirement, will be required to be on the meeting, the next meeting of this body. There's no question of that. That is subject to the Open Meetings Act. That matter has been litigated and it has been brought through the Public Access Council as well.
So this is just a statement that there will be a veto at
The-
the next meeting.
No, there is a
So
veto
this is
now.
I guess
Sorry.
I'm confused.
There is a written veto now. And then the next matter is the overturn of the veto.
You can vote at the next meeting, but it would require a supermajority to overturn.
my question, I guess, is how can you veto something that there hasn't been a vote on for this particular person? So we voted on something in a prior administration. You're saying you can retroactively veto?
Yes.
You can veto at the next meeting,
You
at the
can,
next regular meeting.
I understand, I'm asking council, may I ask council?
You may.
So you can retroactively veto a previous administration's vote that was signed by the president.
The statement as read in the veto was that all matters were stayed after the appeal was filed.
Okay.
So does that mean yes?
You said retroactively. That would mean we go back in time and redo it.
So the vote
So it's
was,
not a retroactive action. It is her position, is the chair's position is that all matters were stayed after the appeal was filed. At that point in time, everything should have been frozen. The mechanics of going forward, obviously this is an issue of first impression. There's not a lot of case law out there about an appeal that goes on for a resolution, or I'm sorry, an appeal that goes on and the actions that take place after that step, and then there's a veto as a change of administration. But to retroact, I don't understand the retroactive part of this. What I understand is what was written in the veto, or was stated in the veto, was that everything was frozen once the appeal got filed.
I believe,
That was the statement that was just read. There's really no
right.
debate that.
And I'm referring to our council. So as council, you're saying that you agree with that? Or because before when this came about, you said, well, it was a gray area, you didn't know.
No, in fact, what I just said was, this is an issue of first impression, and there's not a lot of case law on that.
So,
Okay, as council has responded, I'm going to continue reading the veto. There was an improper vote on the resolution. Despite the stay, the board improperly proceeded with the vote. This act, almost certainly void as a matter of law, disregards the clear and binding effect of the stay. While the resolution is likely legally ineffective already, I am filing this veto to leave no doubt. This could and should have been avoided. Had the board adhered to village code, this matter would have awaited proper review. Instead, in a rush to judgment, disregarding the conservative advice of council, the board acted to advance the interests of profit motives over the integrity of village process. The necessity of the veto. It is deeply unfortunate that my first official act must be corrective rather than constructive. However, respect for law and process demands this veto. The village must stand for reasoned governments, not expedience. This veto is necessary to uphold the village code, protect the rights of all parties, and reaffirm that decisions must follow lawful process, not political or private interests. In conclusion, for these reasons, I hereby veto the resolution approving the plat of the Grove Area 1. No further action regarding the plat shall proceed until the pending appeal is heard and resolved. Respectfully submitted. Next, we have public hearing. The question will be on Hannaford Farms Lot 80 and 81 annexation agreement amendment. Is there any discussion?
Danny, would you mind introducing the topic, please?
The village recently received the fee in lieu of development payments for lots 80 and 81 in Hannaford Farm. The original developer went bankrupt while constructing the subdivision, leaving several public improvements that need to be completed. improvements, and in order to reimburse these expenses, a fee development, also referred to as a filer fee, was placed on all of the undeveloped lots. When an owner of these lots applies for a building permit, they are required to pay the filer fee. When the village receives payment of the filer fee, the annexation agreement for Hannaford Farm must then be amended, releasing the lot owner of any future obligations for public infrastructure. In order to amend the annexation agreement, a public hearing is required. Staff is requesting that President Stillwell open the public hearing and take any public comments on the annexation agreement amendment, and the public hearing be subsequently closed.
The public hearing is now open. Are there any comments from the public? Hearing none, the public hearing is now closed. The next order of business is appointments and proclamations. The next question, the resolution appointing President Pro Tem Heidi Lundy. Yes. Is there a motion?
A motion to approve. Motion.
Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, having a motion to approve and a second, we will now proceed with the resolution appointing President Pro Tem Heidi Lundy. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we will now take a vote.
Do you want me to introduce the topic?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Village code requires that after a consolidated election, that the village elect a president pro tem. In accordance with the rules laid out in village code, the senior trustee, which is the longest serving consecutive trustee, be elected president pro tem. Considering there are no ties on who the senior trustee is, the senior trustee is Trustee Lindy. Staff recommends that the village board vote to approve the resolution electing Trustee Lindy as president pro tem.
Can we have roll call for a vote on the question, which is whether Heidi Lundy should be appointed president pro tem?
Trustee Special?
Yes.
Trustee Bonnie?
Yes.
Trustee Lundy?
Do I need to abstain?
No, you do not. You can vote on it.
Yes.
Trustee Michaels?
Aye.
Trustee London?
Aye.
Trustee Russell?
Aye.
The ayes have it, and the vote is unanimous, 6-0. The next item of business is the presentation of a proclamation honoring National Police Week, May 11th to 17th, 2025, in the village of Sugar Grove. Do I have a motion to approve the proclamation for National Police Week?
I'll make that motion.
And do we have a second?
I'll second.
Having a motion to approve and a second, we will now proceed with the proclamation for National Police Week. And then there's the rest.
You can read it from your desk or
Okay. Whereas the Congress and President of the United States have designated May 15th as Peace Officers Memorial Day, and the week in which May 15th falls is dedicated as National Police Week to honor the service and sacrifice of law enforcement officers fallen in the line of duty, and to those who continue to enforce our laws and keep our neighborhood schools and families safe. And whereas the members of law enforcement agencies serving the village of Sugar Grove play an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of our residents. And whereas it is essential that all citizens know and understand the duties, responsibilities, hazards, and sacrifices of their law enforcement agencies. Whereas the village of Sugar Grove recognizes and is grateful for the incredible service and sacrifices the members of the Sugar Grove Police Department and their families make each day to protect the citizens of the village of Sugar Grove. Now therefore be it resolved that I, President Sue Stillwell, and the Board of Trustees proclaim the week of May 11th to 17th as National Police Week in the village of Sugar Grove, and recognize the selfless dedication and bravery of our police officers. All residents are urged to recognize all law enforcement officers, past and present, who have established and maintained peace and security in our community by their faithful and loyal service. we'd like to recognize Chief Patrick Collins and Matthew Bonney and any other police officers who may be present. Thank you for your service.
No, we can distribute it.
The next order of business is, sorry, hold on. The next order of business is a presentation of a proclamation declaring May 12 to 16, 2025 as Economic Development Week in the Village of Sugar Grove. Whereas the economic development profession cultivates thriving neighborhoods, champions sustainability and I'm so sorry. Can I have a motion approving the proclamation for Economic Development Week?
I'll make that motion.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
All right, hearing a motion and a second, we will proceed with the proclamation for Economic Development Week. Whereas the economic development profession cultivates thriving neighborhoods, champions sustainability and resiliency, boosts economic prosperity, enhances the quality of life, and builds robust tax bases. Therefore, be it resolved that the Village of Sugar Grove recognizes Economic Development Week and reminds individuals of the importance of this community celebration, which supports expanding opportunities, bettering lives, and moving society forward. Tracy, can we have roll call, please?
Do you want to do that for the first proclamation as well?
Yes, please.
Okay. And I'm sorry, who was the second on the first for Police Week?
The second for Police Week,
Mike, I was the first,
You
and
were the
Mike was
first,
the
Mike was
second.
the second, okay. Okay, so, Trustee Michaels,
Aye.
Trustee Roscoe,
Aye.
Trustee Lundy,
Aye.
Trustee Bonnie,
Aye.
Trustee Special,
Aye.
Trustee London,
Aye.
and then Economic Development Week, Trustee Special,
Aye.
Trustee London,
Aye.
Trustee Lundy,
Aye.
Trustee Bonnie,
Aye.
Trustee Michaels,
Aye.
Trustee Roscoe.
Aye.
the next order of business is a proclamation declaring May 18th to 24th, 2025 as National Public Works Week in the Village of Sugar Grove.
I'll make that motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Having a motion to approve from Trustee Special and a second from Trustee Michaels, we will proceed with the proclamation for National Public Works Week. Whereas we'd like to recognize Brad Merkel and Brian Schreiber, who I believe are here today. Whereas public works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities and public health, high quality of life, and the well-being of the residents of Sugar Grove. Whereas these infrastructure, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of public works professionals, who are engineers, managers, and employees at all levels of government and the private sector, who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, water treatment, and solid waste systems, public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, President Sue Stillwell, and the Board of Trustees do hereby designate the week of May 18th to 24th, 2025 as National Public Works Week. The year 2025 also marks the 65th Annual National Public Works Week. I urge all residents to join with representatives of the American Public Works Association and government agencies to pay tribute to our public works professionals. And Tracy, can we have a roll call on the vote to approve National Public Works Week?
Trustee Special,
Aye.
Trustee Michaels,
Aye.
Trustee Lundy,
Aye.
Trustee Bonnie,
Aye.
Trustee London,
Aye.
Trustee Roscoe.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Okay, real quick. Also want to recognize Trustee Special, our former Public Works Director here at the village as well. So thanks, Tony.
Thank you.
Our next order of business is another proclamation This one is for the Mayor's Monarch Pledge in 2025. I had taken this pledge through the National Wildlife Federation. Do I have a motion approving the proclamation for the Mayor's Monarch Pledge in 2025? Thank you. We have a first from Trustee Roscoff. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second from Trustee London. Whereas the monarch butterfly is an iconic North American species whose eastern population has declined by more than 80% over the past 2 decades due to habitat loss, climate change, and the widespread use of herbicides and pesticides. And whereas cities, towns, and villages play a critical role in protecting and restoring habitat necessary for monarch butterflies and other pollinators to survive and thrive. Whereas the National Wildlife Federation's Mayor's Monarch Pledge empowers municipal leaders to commit to specific actions that support monarch conservation and raise community awareness. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed, the Village of Sugar Grove has officially joined hundreds of communities across the United States taking the National Wildlife Federation's Mayor's Monarch Pledge. The village pledges to take meaningful actions to support monarch butterfly habitat, including planting native milkweed and nectar plants on public lands, educating residents about pollinator-friendly practices, and encouraging sustainable landscaping. May we have a vote on the Mayor's Monarch Pledge 2025? Tracy, roll call, please.
Trustee London?
Aye.
Trustee Roscoe?
Aye.
Trustee Lundy.
Aye.
Trustee Bunny?
Aye.
Trustee Michaels?
Aye.
Trustee Special?
Aye.
President Stovall?
Aye. And the ayes have it, and the motion carries. Finally, we have one last proclamation. This is a presentation of a proclamation recognizing May 2025 as Motorcycle Awareness Month in the Village of Sugar Grove. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
We have a first from Trustee Michaels. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second from Trustee Special. There is someone to accept the Motorcycle Awareness Month proclamation today. I'm so sorry I don't know his name. Thank you so much.
Can I say a couple of words, please?
Yes.
Happy Tuesday, happy Teachers Day, happy Nurses Day. Both great professions. Same with the cops. My name is Mark Garrison. I am a proud member of ABATE of Illinois. ABATE stands for A Brotherhood Aimed Towards Education. Part of our mission is to promote safety education awareness not only to the motorcyclist but also to the car driver. There are a few of our members in my chapter, Duquesne chapter, which covers DuPage, Kane, parts of Kendall, parts of DeKalb, parts of McHenry, that go into high schools and talk to driver's ed kids about motorcycle awareness. Over the last few years, we've averaged upwards of 5,200 kids per year that we've talked to. We go into Cane Lane High School, that's around here, I know, many other high schools in the area, and it's very satisfying to me that these kids really don't know how to drive around motorcycles. So we try to give them an understanding of how that is. We try to give them an understanding of what it's like to be around motorcycles. Motorcycling is a wonderful way of transportation or recreation, however you want to look at it. My wife's a motorcyclist. My son, who lives just down the street here, is a motorcyclist. His wife's a motorcyclist. We bring economy into the communities with our charity runs, and it's funny because, you know, we started charity runs way back in the 70s or 60s, and every other organization has now decided that we're going to have motorcyclists be our charity run. But we are very giving, and we are very concerned. We are concerned about us. We are concerned about the public. We try to be good with the public. Every year, our organization, or my chapter does a toy and food run that raises somewhere upwards of $10,000 to $12,000 in goods and foods for the Fox Valley area. We do that because we give back to the community that has put up with us for so many years. And I appreciate the proclamation. If it's okay with you, if we can get a little photo op, that'd be great. I have a little bit of swag to give out to everybody, if that's okay. It's not gonna go on your ethics ordinance. And I appreciate the Public Works guys. I worked in Public Works at an organization up in northern DuPage County, and Public Works, they rock. Thank you. Oh, that'd be great.
There you go.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
It's okay, no worries. I'm new too. I'm not really, but thanks.
Thank you so much.
Can't forget the swag, can it? Excellent.
Thank you to you.
I like Harley.
Appreciate you advocating.
I'm sorry?
I appreciate you advocating.
Somebody's got to do it. What do you got?
Great.
The actual.
Not yet. Don't be
Get the finance guy.
I'm going to go ahead and read the Motorcycle Awareness Month proclamation. Whereas safety is the highest priority for the highways and streets of our village and state. Whereas the great state of Illinois is proud to be a national leader in motorcycle safety, education, and awareness. Whereas it is especially meaningful that the citizens of our village and state be aware of motorcycles on the roadways and recognize the importance of motorcycle safety. Whereas the members of a brotherhood aimed toward education of the youth of Illinois continually promotes motorcycle safety, education, and awareness in high school drivers' education programs, and to the citizens in our village and state, presenting motorcycle awareness programs to over 120,000 participants in Illinois over the past 9 years. And whereas all motorcyclists should join a Abate of Illinois in actively promoting the safe operation of motorcycles. During the month of May, all roadway users should unite in the safe sharing of roadways within the village of Sugar Grove and throughout the state of Illinois. Now therefore be it resolved that I, President Sue Stillwell, and the Board of Trustees, in recognition of 38 years of Abate of Illinois and over 352,318 registered motorcyclists statewide, and in recognition of the continued role Illinois serves as a leader in motorcycle safety, education, and awareness, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2025 Motorcycle Awareness Month in the village of Sugar Grove. May we have a vote on the proclamation for Motorcycle Awareness Month? Roll call, please.
Trustee Michaels.
Aye.
Trustee Special.
Aye.
Trustee Lundy.
Aye.
Trustee Bonnie.
Aye.
Trustee London.
Aye.
Trustee Rostow.
Aye.
The ayes have it, and the proclamation approving Motorcycle Awareness Month is approved unanimously. The next order of business is the airport report.
No report.
All right. The next order of business is public comments on scheduled action items. On the agenda today, there's a consent agenda approving the April 15, 2025 board meeting minutes and the approval of vouchers. There's also general business.
You can if you want.
An ordinance approving an annexation agreement for Hannaford lots 80 and 81. An ordinance approving the final plat of subdivision for lots 80 and 81 in Hannaford. A resolution to award, the to approve the bid award for the annual road program, a resolution to approve the bid award for West Wheeler Road, a resolution authorizing supplemental agreement with IDOT for 2024 MFT road program, and a resolution to approve updating authorized signatories. Do we have any corrections or discussion on the consent agenda?
No, nobody signed up for public comment, but if anybody would like to come up, you have 3 minutes for items on for approval tonight.
Having none, public comment is now closed. Do we have any correction or discussion for the consent agenda approving the April 15th, 2025 board meeting minutes or the approval of vouchers? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
We have a first from trustee Michael, a second.
Second.
Having a motion to approve and a second from trustee Roscoff, the consent agenda will now be put to a vote. Tracy, can we have a roll call, please?
Aye.
Trustee Roscoff?
Aye.
Trustee Lundy.
Aye.
Trustee Bonnie?
Aye.
Trustee Special?
Aye.
Trustee London?
Aye.
The ayes have it and the motion carries approving the consent agenda. Next, there is an ordinance approving an annexation agreement for Hannaford's Lot 80 and 81.
Make a motion to approve the ordinance.
Second? No.
We have a motion to approve from trustee Michaels and a second from trustee Special.
As stated earlier, the village has received the pilot payments for lots 80 and 81. We held the public hearing previously, and now the next steps would be to approve the ordinance amending the annexation agreement amending the annexation agreement for lots 80 and 81. So that is what you have before you, and staff is recommending approval of the annexation agreement amendment. This is kind of a housekeeping matter. We do this for all of the lots in Hannaford.
The question is, should the ordinance approving an annexation agreement for Hannaford's Lot 80 and 81 be approved? Can we have a roll call, please?
Can I ask a question first?
Okay.
What was the public meeting? Was it held?
It was
The first item. We held the public hearing during this meeting.
Okay.
That was what that one was for.
So my question is, the notice of public hearing here, it says April 6th, is there a typo in it?
That
Then,
is a typo.
I can amend my first to modify the date.
We have a motion to modify the date for the public comments for the Hannaford's Lot 80 and 81 annexation agreement. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll amend my second per trustee Michael's comments.
We have an amended motion to approve from trustee Michael and a second amendment modifying from trustee Special. Can we put that question to a roll call?
Is there any more discussion?
Is there any more discussion? Oh, I think this question is only to approve it. This vote is only to approve the date.
Okay.
Yeah. This is the vote is just to approve the date change.
Oh, the date.
Yeah.
Trustee Michaels?
Aye.
Trustee Special?
Aye.
Trustee Lundy.
Aye.
Trustee Bonnie?
Abstain.
Trustee London?
Aye.
Trustee Roscoff?
aye.
The ayes have it and the motion carries. Is there any other discussion on the ordinance approving an annexation agreement for Hannaford's Lot 80 and 81? Hearing none, we will put it to a vote. Can we have a roll call, please, Tracy?
Trustee Michaels?
Aye.
Trustee Special?
Aye.
Trustee Lundy.
Aye.
Trustee Bonnie?
Abstain.
Trustee London?
Aye.
Trustee Roscoff?
Aye.
The ayes have it and the motion carries. The next the next general business item is an ordinance approving the final plat of subdivision for lots 80 and 81 in Hannaford. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
And do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion to approve from trustee Special and a second from trustee Michaels. Do we have any additional discussion approving on the ordinance approving the final plat of subdivision for lots 80 and 81 in Hannaford?
Yes. In addition to the filing fee payment, the village has also received an application from John and Anna Armbruster for a final plat of subdivision to combine two lots, lots 80 and 81 in Hannaford. The Plan Commission discussed the final plat of subdivision on April 16th and had no concerns over the proposal and recommended that the village board approve the final plat of subdivision. The board has approved other similar plats of subdivision within Hannaford Farm. I would like to note that on the final version of the plat, there are a few clerical corrections that need to be made. The years of the certificates will be changed to 2025, and one of the certificates states that the United City of Yorkville. This will be corrected to the Village of Sugar Grove. Staff recommends that the village board approve the resolution approving the final plat of subdivision, and the applicants are here if you have any questions.
Are there any questions or additional discussion related to approving the final plat of subdivision for lots 80 and 81 in Hannaford?
Do we have to amend the motion in second since there are changes?
We do not.
Okay.
I'm sorry. We do not. That was mentioned in the report. So if we want to say, we understand that it would be as amended and as presented.
Okay.
Comments in there. I am not worried about that.
All right.
Hearing no additional questions or discussion, we will have a vote. Can we have a roll call, please, Tracy?
Trustee Special.
Aye.
Trustee Michaels.
Aye.
Trustee Lundy.
Aye.
Trustee Bonnie.
Same.
Trustee London.
Aye.
Trustee Roscoe.
Aye.
The ayes have it and the motion carries. The next general business item is a resolution to approve the bid award for the annual road program.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion to approve from trustee Special. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second from trustee Bonnie.
Good evening. This was discussed back in November when we decided on the road program for this year, which includes improvements to the portion of Neal from Stanley going east to the dead end, Stanley Road from Mona to Joy, Calkins from McCannon to the west dead end, Yolane Street from Patricia to the west cul-de-sac, and then also in conjunction with the township, we're paving our section of Kadika Road. So it includes concrete, repairs, sidewalks, all that stuff to make it all ADA compliant in that area. We opened the bids on April 10th, and deconstruction, well, this is not this was builders, was their lowest responsible bidder, and they were 2.2% under the engineer's estimate. And this project is currently in the budget.
Are there any additional questions or discussion on the question in front of us, which is the resolution to approve the bid award for the annual road program?
Are they milling the road now?
Yeah, there's gonna probably like all the way down to stone, and there'll be some base repairs.
Yeah.
Some of the areas, basically, mostly on the curb line, which is really bad.
Do you anticipate any change orders to take it up to the full?
I don't believe so. We accounted for, additional quantities in the contract, so I think we'll be okay.
It's good pricing. It's nice to see all the different contractors that
They're
are.
pretty close, yeah. We
Yeah.
have a lot of competition on both projects.
Yeah.
Are we anticipating any increase due to economic growth or anything like
It's a bid, so I didn't think so.
that? Okay, I just wanted
I would thought that they would have accounted for that.
to, okay, so,
But, yeah. Builders has been pretty good. They've done a program for like the last 3 to 5 years. So
Okay.
they've done pretty good.
Are there any additional questions from trustees? Hearing none, we will put the resolution to approve the bid award for the annual road program to a vote. Trustee roll call, please.
Trustee Special.
Aye.
Trustee Bonnie.
Aye.
Trustee Lundy.
aye.
Trustee Michaels.
Aye.
Trustee London.
Aye.
Trustee Roscoe.
Aye.
The ayes have it and the motion carries. The next resolution for general business is a resolution to approve the bid award for West Wheeler Road.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion to approve from trustee Special. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second from trustee Bonnie.
This was talked about back in October where we approved the contract with EEI to do the design, engineering, and bidding for this project, which is including resurfacing, culvert replacements, and some minor ditch regrading and landscaping. So on April 11th, we opened the bids, and deconstruction was the lowest responsive bidder at $167,212.35, which was 31.8% under the engineer's estimate. So we're recommending approval of this project, and it is also included in the budget, and it should be noted, Matt, this is a surplus in closing out TIF 1.
Are there any additional questions or discussion regarding the resolution to approve the bid award for West Wheeler Road?
I'm just curious, any idea why it's so much lower than the estimate? And I saw the rates were all over the board.
There's a lot of competition right now, and D wanted to get in this area. They're aggressive when they want to be. So.
Is there any work that needs to be done on Dugan Road?
So Dugan is currently programmed for the KCOM, for the Kane County Council of Mayors, to get resurfaced next year. It's at the 70-30%. So it's.
And is this the portion east of Dugan or
west? This is the only road in the village that's never been blacktopped.
Oh.
It's tar and chip still at this point, so it's in bad shape.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a great price.
Are there any additional questions or discussion on the resolution to approve the bid award for West Wheeler Road? Hearing none, we will put the item to a vote. Can we have roll call, Tracy?
Trustee Special.
Aye.
Trustee Ron.
Aye.
Trustee Lindy.
Aye.
Trustee Michaels.
Aye.
Trustee London.
Aye.
Trustee Ruska.
Aye.
The ayes have it and the motion carries. The next item of general business is a resolution authorizing supplemental agreement with IDOT for 2024 MFT road program.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion to approve from trustee Special. Do we have a second?
No second.
We have a second from trustee Michaels, and we will get a question authorizing supplemental agreement with IDOT.
Back on March 19th of 24, the village board approved the 2024 road program for MFT for IDOT. That resolution has estimated numbers in it. Every year, once we receive our final payment from the state for our MFT allotments, which happens in the first or second week of April, we work with EEI to provide this supplemental resolution to close out the MFT program for the year so that we're maximizing every dollar. And what that does is it gets sent to the state so that it closes out the program for the village. So this is an annual kind of cleanup and housekeeping that we will do every year once we receive our final MFT allotment for the year in April.
Are there any additional questions, or discussions for Matt regarding the supplemental agreement with IDOT? Hearing none, we will put the question to a vote. Can we have a roll call? Tracy?
Trustee Special.
Aye.
Trustee Michaels.
Aye.
Trustee Lindy.
Aye.
Trustee Ronnie.
Aye.
Trustee London.
Aye.
Trustee Ruska.
Aye.
The ayes have it and the motion carries. The next order of general business is a resolution to approve updating authorized signatories. Do we have a motion to approve discussion?
Make that motion.
We have a first from trustee Michaels. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second from trustee Linden, and the question will be discussed.
So every time that there is a change in the presidential seat for the village, the financial institution signatories have to be updated. So this resolution is updating those to have President Stillwell, Village Administrator Keppel, and myself as signatories on those accounts.
Do we have any questions?
Sorry, it is also removing the old, so this is just fully updating to those three.
Do we have any questions or discussion on the resolution to approve updating authorized signatures? Hearing none, we will put the question to a vote. Roll call, Tracy.
Trustee Michaels.
Aye.
Trustee London.
Aye.
Trustee Lindy.
Aye.
Trustee Ronnie.
Aye.
Trustee Special.
Aye.
Trustee Ruska.
Aye.
The ayes have it and the motion carries.
Skip for any moment.
We will now open public comments for any and all items on the agenda.
No one signed up ahead of time, but if you would like to be part of public comment on any and all items, please come up to the microphone. You have 3 minutes.
Hello all. This is more as a representative from the Cornwall. Well, first of all, congratulations to the new board. I hope the next 4 years are incredible. It was a great honor serving for 8 years for the village. But we are, our next meeting is next Thursday, 6:30 at the library. And every year, the volunteers get smaller and smaller. So we really, really, really need help. And if anyone on the board wants to volunteer to help out, we could really use to support anybody from the village who wants to help out, even if it's for the day of. Help out with just a couple hours. It's going to make a difference. It's a monumental task, and we really need help. So please consider volunteering for the Cornwall. And if you want to know more, go to the fire department next Thursday at 6:30. Vicki.
Thank you. Do we have any additional public comments? Hearing none, we'll close public comment at this time. The next order of business is discussion items, and the first one is the license plate readers.
Good evening. So this is just a status update, so no actions needed at the board. Just filling you in. We have a brand new board and just wanted to bring it to everyone's attention as well as to the community. So back in 2023, the village board approved the automatic license plate readers through Flock Safety Incorporated. We got them finally installed in April of 2024. Part of that original order was 3 of them were going to be on state roadways, with 1 of them being on a county roadway. Our first intention was to put them at the perimeters of coming in and out of the village. So 3 of those 4 are currently in operation. There's still a 4th one off of Route 47 near I-88 that has not been installed. They're still going through the permitting process, and just so everyone's aware, many communities in Illinois pushed automatic license plate cameras over the last few years. So IDOT and their different regions got inundated with a number of permit requests, because if they're going in the right of way of all these streets, they have to review it to make sure that they meet the standards and are they okay with the locations. So knowing that we had a lag time with IDOT, we worked with Flock back in the time frame from March of 2023 to April 2024 to get 4 temporary camera locations placed in the village on village roadways, so we can take advantage of their programs right away. So in essence, we've had 7 cameras operational, and we're only paying for 4. Once that last license plate reader goes in, the intention is that Flock will remove the 4 temporary cameras. During the budget discussion items back in December of 24, the village board asked about the opportunity for us to maintain or keep those 4 additional cameras if staff was looking for that, and yes, we were. And obviously there was an additional cost. There was extra money that was available through the reserves that were anticipated. Since that took place in December 24, it was approved in January of 25 to add those 4 temporary cameras to our account with Flock, which will bring us to a total of 8, with 7 of them operational. Since then, though, since January, we've been doing 2 things behind the scenes, and one of them was we needed a camera on the east side of town for the traffic coming in, and we were looking at Galena, and just so everyone's aware, Galena Road is a state route. Again, we knew we were going to be bogged down with the permitting process, so we recently have found a property owner that has land along Galena that will bring it close enough to the right-of-way that they'll still show the license plates that will be passing in front of it, and we won't have to go to IDOT. So as long as we
utilize this piece of property and with the, an informal agreement with the, it's a farm right now with the property owner. If it develops, we'll have to potentially relocate it, or they might be okay where it's at. So that's one of them. One of our temporary cameras is going to be moving because two of them are close together. One was over by the roundabout, and one's just at 30 and Dugan. So they were too close together, one the temporary and one's the fixed one. So one of them's going to relocate. The other one was for us to place it on our speed trailer. So that way, if we do have an opportunity, we do have a crime wave, or we do have stuff that's going on, we can mobily move one around because most of the flock cameras, they're fixed locations. And Tracy, do you mind pulling up the village website and try to show everybody what the cameras look like? Just thank you. So that's what you'll see along the roadways, and you're going to see the solar panel, the actual camera in operation, and it will send all of the officers in the field an alert if something passes in front of it. So there's a database that's created through the state, our leads, as well as through NCIC, our national database. If a car's stolen, if there's an amber alert, if there's a silver alert, or if there's a wanted person or someone on the terrorist watch list, as well as other things. Now, this is regulated through the state. You only have so many days that the data stays in there, and it gets updated on a daily basis. So, King County has a number of these cameras. Two of them actually are on Route 56 as you come off of 98. As of yesterday, one of the cameras got hit, so it's down, so it's going to have to be repaired. So we also know of others. A lot of communities have these license plate readers, and there's other vendors out there besides Flock. Axon's also actively involved. I do want to let everyone know that all of our squad cars, marked squad cars, also have automatic license plate readers within the squad cars as part of our fleet management system. So they're able to, it helps the officers out being able to identify people that are suspended for DUI, people that have warrants. And you still have to verify it. You still can't just, take action based solely on the information. Sometimes the data might get corrected during the day, and that the data that gets pushed to all these cameras is usually pushed out every 24 hours. However, if it's an amber alert and gets into a system, that will go out immediately. It will override it so that you don't have to wait the 24 hours. So if a vehicle is traveling through Sugar Grove and it matches, then we'll all get those alerts. So the village initially allocated $10,000 for the first year, and year two, first year we had a little bit more because when you initially sign up with Flock, you have to pay installation costs per camera. And then on top of that, the cameras, when we bought them back in 2023, were $2,500 per camera per year, with installation costs also on top of it. Year two, it's $10,000. 4 cameras is $2,500. Since that time frame, Flock has increased their rates for everybody across the country, and there's thousands of cameras across the country. It's up to $3,000 now per camera. So any brand new camera as of today moving forward is $3,000. And then if it goes on, if it's mobile, then it's $3,500 a year. Flock this month since we've been waiting and we've been negotiating a better price with them, they have waived our installation costs for moving it from the temporary locations to the new fixed locations, but we have to take advantage of it for this month. So I just wanted to bring this to your attention in case you start to see a lot of activity around the pole cameras. You're going to know why if you're seeing utility work being done, and the community is aware of it. We're relocating 2 of them to new locations, and just be happy to answer any questions. Also on our website is we have a transparency page that anyone could go on and get a little bit more information what it's all about. It's been very beneficial to law enforcement, and we've made some great investigative leads and follow-up as part of a tool that we've closed out cases with arrests. So, and then if you look, it says we have 7 cameras. It tells you what we're looking for. I do want to put a caveat out there. What officers see
is they see the back of a car and their license plate. They don't see the occupants of the car. They can't tell who's driving the car. They can't, and the same thing with the front. If it's passing in front of a car that has a plate that's heading in the opposite direction, they can't see inside the windshield or in the passenger compartment. They only get the make and the model and the license plate. That could tell them. So in the last the last 30 days, this changes. This gets updated. We've had 21 searches on the system, and some of them might be, we've had a couple of retail thefts, we had a burglary motor vehicle, so we're searching for some information. But if you look, there's also 2,960 hits, meaning something that was in the database that passed in front of these cameras. So we're active out there with them. It's a great tool for law enforcement. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
I have a question for you. So it's roughly 3,000 hits in a month. I mean, you can't obviously look at, how does that exactly work? I mean, you get hits all the time, so when, like, how's the data useful? I mean, besides the Amber Alerts, how is that data useful when there's so many hits?
So we have it designated, so there's certain things, there's low-level activities or categories that we don't push out to the officers, and they can receive it if they want, but you're right, that thing can be telling them there's a car that passed in front of this camera at this location. They'll get inundated. They still have to patrol the streets. They
There's
still
like
have to-
arrest warrants, that kind of stuff? Is that what it's
Yes,
for?
yeah, so for higher end stuff, yes, typically, yeah.
Are there any additional questions for Chief Rollins?
Appreciate it, thank you. And like I said, you'll probably start seeing in the next couple of months some activity in front of the cameras. So.
Thanks, Chief.
Our next item for discussion is the annual bridge inspection.
Good evening. This is an annual requirement by the Federal Transportation or Highway Administration to complete inspections on our bridges. Depending on the age and conditions, it can either be every year or every 3 years, or 2 years, sorry. So all three of ours are actually due this year. So we have 3 bridges, the one on Granite, Campton, and then Phase Lane and Dewey Woods. Any questions?
Are there any questions on the annual bridge inspection?
And I'll bring it back for formal approval at the next meeting.
Yeah, I'll set it.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Our next item for discussion is the social media policy.
Thank you. President Stillwell requested that we add this on the agenda to revisit our social media policy here at the village. Back in October, the village board decided to change the policy to a closed social media policy for comments. This was both the policy decision of the village board and advice of IRMA. Previously, we had a limited public forum, which is really the only true other option for the village to have. In a limited public forum, the way that works is that comments are allowed, but there are very strict rules that would govern whether or not an item would be either hidden or removed. It would also govern the fact that because it is a village forum, that we need to maintain those. So we want to have, if staff's request, if it is a limited forum, is to have very linear rules so that we know when and how to apply them, and there's not a lot of gray areas that come up. Just from my tech background, I always recommend that we don't have links. Links can be changed or ended. They also could potentially go somewhere unsavory, and I don't always want staff checking where the links go. So just not having links is the easiest policy on that front to protect that village and the residents that may come click on that. So happy to answer questions about where we're at, and the hope is to get a consensus to bring back a potential policy change or leave the policy the same at the next meeting. Thank you.
Is it okay if I contribute to this one as well? The residents expressed that during the next 4 years, they would like to be heard more. Social media is one of the ways that they are able to speak, and they would like to be able to comment on the different various village posts. Sky had proposed one option, which was similar to what we had in the past, where it was limited. I believe our which was for us not to moderate so that there's no chance of someone thinking there was some sort of favoritism. But Facebook itself does not allow things like racism or pornography, things like that. So if there were posts that didn't belong, then Facebook could be notified and then would get rid of those posts so that the village doesn't have to moderate. That's all I have to add.
I do have a concern. Obviously, there is a liability that was brought up with Irma, and that is an ongoing concern. I have talked to different employees of other municipalities and different training that attorneys offer on this. And it is generally a concern for municipality just to have an open forum. And I understand your point, and I'm not opposed, I get with people comments and stuff. I think we all have email addresses, which I think is great. And I think everything is pretty well shared on different websites and stuff. So I'm just concerned as a village and liability. I don't know if the attorney or anything to add or.
Now this quote right from the memorandum that was, if I may, the closed form according to Irma has the least amount of risk and exposure. There's no question. Irma's advice is very clear that close it out, but that is also a policy decision. And it's a policy decision on how much risk you want to take with regard to this, and exposure you want to take on part of this, versus how much openness you want to give to your residents and allow them to comment on these things. Obviously, guidelines would also have to be put in place to ensure that it doesn't devolve into a public comment amongst elected officials to create an electronic meeting. We did call the public access counselor with the Attorney General's office today. They, of course, promoted the exact opposite, and they said that they want as much openness as possible, and they just want to make sure that concerns are taken on it. This is an evolving question of law, but to your point, there was advice by Irma, whose job it is to get premiums and to minimize risk, is to not to have a closed forum completely. I don't want, and my advice would not to be have some form of a forum where selections are made, where we like these people and they comment, and we don't like these people so they don't get to comment or they get blocked or whatever.
Right.
That would be very problematic.
Right.
That would run into First Amendment concerns. That would be run afoul of what we're trying to do.
I think some of the problems we had before were comments were being made that would open up us to liability, I believe, because they were not monitored. We don't have someone to monitor them. We took the advice of Irma because we do not want to be sued. And everyone has a email address that they can be contacted. And I think that was the best. Also, when we had the meeting, there was only one public comment about it when we discussed this last time and that one public comment was essentially, this is why we can't have nice things. We have to close it because there's too many nasty things going around. I think a lot of us have, since we're in public and have run for office, we have seen nasty things being put on Facebook. I make a point not to comment on Facebook as a trustee for that reason. But it was passed unanimously to remove public comments to save us the risk of legal issues because we don't have someone who's going to be monitoring it, and we can't keep, and if we have it completely open, then you're going to have all kinds of stuff posted on there. You'll have, people's personal, public records that might be put out there, arrest records or something like that. I don't know. So I suggest that we keep it as it is because I think it is less of a legal liability if we keep it closed and make sure everyone responds to their emails. And like I said, when we brought this up before, which wasn't too long ago, it was October, we only had one public comment, and that one public comment was to close it.
Thank you, Heidi. I do hope that when this goes to a vote, we can possibly consider approaching things in a different way and making our residents a priority and keeping things as open as possible to hear them. The form of moderation that Scott suggested was based on Oswego's, and as far as I know, Oswego has never had litigation, and we have previously had this policy in the past, and we've had no related litigation. So closing down the public comments for fear of litigation, I don't believe is the thing to do, but we can have a vote on it in the future.
So can I say something?
Yes.
I don't like the idea of completely open, because I think there's an issue of people, because you see Facebook, all the negativity and name calling, and I think there should be some moderation. If we're going to have any kind of discussion, there should be somebody moderating at some point, or limited, because you're going to have a post that is 100, they just keep commenting the same stuff. I mean, at some point, you'll cut it off. I mean, it's some posts.
The limited policy is what Scott described, so that would be limited based on Oswego's.
Excuse me, the problem is we don't have somebody who is constantly monitoring it. So someone can come on the weekends and post stuff and, say that we're all taking, been wined and dined by, a developer or something. And we're taking bribes. But it stays up until our designated staff comes in and decides when to take it down. Then you have the question of, from what I've read in some of the law firms that have done presentations on this, that it becomes very touchy on who you take down, what you take down. And so you either have to have it open or you have it closed. Because then if you take someone's post down, I ask legal, if you take someone's post down, then you get into this gray area, what's free speech, what's not free speech.
I mean, it is, as you stated, and it was stated before, it is an evolving area of law. That when they started the Open Meetings Act and they started First Amendment issues, the social media forums were not even contemplated. And we would have to be diligent. There would be a lag time. That's just natural. There would be a lag time on the monitoring for weekends and for other issues. But that is the policy balance. Do you want openness or do you want to protect against risk? Obviously, IRMA was very clear in their advice. And when we talked to the public access counselor today, they wanted to promote openness. And I don't mean to put this back on you, but that's the policy balance, right? How much risk do you have versus how much do you want to allow for openness on those situations?
I mean, I agree with the openness part. I guess I'm just very concerned on the liability part. I don't know how you balance that. I mean, I'm not opposed to having comments and stuff, but I am opposed and concerned about liability and lawsuits for anything. So I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of, I'm not familiar with Oswego's policy.
Yeah, I think it'd be good to see Oswego's.
So Oswego has a limited form. I pulled in, if you could leave it where it was, Tracy. Can you scroll a little bit, please? So in your packet, under the discussion item, numbers 1 through 7, those are pulled directly from Oswego's policy. They had 1 or 2 other ones that I felt were too gray for me to recommend, including in the list of reasons that an item would be taken down, because I don't want to put staff in a situation where we have to decide whether or not something is off topic. That was a big discussion we had last time, and we were told that absolutely we should not, from IRMA, do not include in your rules to take something down that's off topic. That is very dangerous. There needs to be very clean rules that are very specific and would address, as we have listed up here, reasons to take something down. If it's just, that's when we get into the if it's too long or different, we can't, I would very caution against that from everything that I've learned in the discussions and then the sessions that I've been in. Matt, Anastasia, our finance director, who does some HR stuff for us, many hats, has sat in on some HR ones as well about this, and they and content about this, and they say if you're taking things down, you need to follow your rules, and your rules need to be very specific, because that's the way to put staff in a bad situation when they're trying to decide whether or not a rule applies. So if you do decide to go this way, that's the one thing I would caution, is that they're very, very specific rules.
So I asked a few questions, man. So this is great and all, but this is, whose opinion is going to be monitoring this? So my question is it you, Scott, that's going to be able to tell us if it's a contact language, as a personal attack consultant? Are you the one making that opinion based at the end? Or if you're not here, then who else? Are your opinions going to be both the same? Is what is a personal attack to you going to be the personal attack to Matt? Or, how are we going to have a baseline of what's going to be taken through these rules? I get the rules. I think that they cover a lot of things, but I think what we need is, if we're going to do this, we're going to need to hire a full-time person to watch over our social media and have the same exact consistency throughout. Because I think what's going to happen is, Scott, you're on vacation, and your opinion on what promotes, foster, number 2, discrimination based on race, creed, color, age, might not be the same for somebody else. I'm not saying that's correct, but we're all humans. We all have different opinions of what constitutes violation of any of these rules. So I think just not, my concerns lie within the opinion based on how we're going to operate all these rules, who's going to actually be the person, is there any consistency with it? We have, I'm concerned about the 11 o'clock on a Friday night when nobody's paying attention, and they post something online that incites fear right away in our residents, active shooter someplace, which is not true, and we're not monitoring that. Yes, it violates some of these rules, but how are we going to be able to watch for that if there's nobody that's watching it? I think that's a major concern. Another concern I have is next of kin and accidents or fires or things like that. Someone says, oh, John Smith just died at the intersection. John Smith's family hasn't even been notified yet. Now they find this information off on our Facebook page at 2 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday when there's nobody watching this. I think that's also a very big issue with not having somebody watching when it's open and people are able to post on things. Open source media, they can post things like arrest records or mugshots or financial information or bankruptcy information or all these other things that can go on here, and in order for us to go through and try to take it off, it might be a day, it might be 2 days. You said no links. Is that an option? Can you make it so no links are there, or can they post a link and we just take it down?
From my understanding, we have to take it down. Is that true, Tracy?
Yeah. So somebody on once again, I like to use this Friday night to Saturday morning, but let's use 4 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday. Somebody posts a link to something absolutely obscene, and we don't catch it till later. Yet people have visited the websites in the meantime. So I have a lot of concern, which is opening it up. And I think that if we want to open it up, and we're going to have to put our money where our mouth is, we need to hire a full-time person to watch social media 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That person needs to be, responsible for this, and there has to be some liability placed on them. I think we should listen to Irma, and their recommendation is to keep it closed because of all these other issues, and I'm in agreement with it.
I have a question. I know our email addresses are listed all separately on the website. Is there a way to do one email that could go to all the board members so somebody didn't have to? So in other words, while we're considering this, couldn't we just have village board email link that we all just got the same?
That would be a
Huh?
That would be a quorum.
If it's I defer to the attorney about OMA, but concerns on that one?
Nothing that has a reply to, it's just something that a person can send out.
I have not heard of that before. I've heard of obviously informational links for the municipality, and then that gets forwarded individually or in a manner so as to not compromise the Open Meetings Act.
Right.
I have not heard of a village board or corporate authorities email address. I just haven't heard of it. I do think that it did raise a trigger in my mind about an electronic quorum. I'm not sure if it would necessarily, but I know I want to think about it a little more. I do know we have information, Mr. Administrator. We have an information email address, correct? Like info@thevillage or no?
Yeah, we have eClerk, we have other places where they can request, we have a request portal where you can do an ask a question that can come in to staff, and it's the same portal as FOIA. We have many ways to contact staff and have their email addresses available.
So there is kind of a surrogate matter for that would work in a way?
Well, yeah, I just, want us to think all different options and availabilities, because I do want to be open, but I do want to be careful at the same time. Irma is, we're theoretically self-insured through Irma, and that is a concern.
I have a question that we may be able to research before the votes, but the majority of the items that are listed here are also against Facebook's policy. Could we verify the Facebook policy to verify that all of these things are covered? Because then I think you had raised the point, somebody would be making an opinion as to whether something might be like defamatory, personal attack, something like that. If we could simply report it and then have Facebook make that decision as to whether it meets the criteria for things that should be blocked, that might be helpful. Is that something we could research with Facebook?
My concern is the reporting. It's great that Facebook can report it, but we have to report to Facebook. I don't think Facebook just monitors our page all the time, so we would have to report it. That's my point, is during this time when nobody's monitoring it, all of these things can occur before we notice it, and then we make the notification.
It's not just us, it's anybody can report. I can report your comments, and you can report anybody's comment on Facebook, so.
We'll just rely on other people to report.
I'm not saying, I'm just saying,
then,
yeah.
Because then we get back to that opinion-based thing. But I think it's great, though, it's a great, I wish it would figure something out, for sure.
Trustee Lynn.
I see that there's a lot of, balancing that we're trying to deal with, and the biggest issue is making sure that our constituents get heard, and but without causing undue concerns and damages potentially. Now, some Facebook pages have a moderator, and before anything gets posted, it has to be approved by the moderator. So that way it goes on there. Again, that's a problem with somebody says, well, the moderator is being biased. So we've got issues there. But one of the biggest issues that I think we deal with is yes, we have online links to our various emails. Nobody goes and looks for it. We are so completely overwhelmed by media that the average person, if it's not there right in their face, they're not going to go hunt for it. So I think one of the things we may want to look at is how our Facebook page is there. Does it have links that get us to the right people so that it's right there in front of me? I can't make a comment, but I can get to this person because I touched that link, and now I have an info email address, and it goes right there, and then somebody will address that. It could, depending upon how you set it up, there's automated systems where it says, thank you very much for your commentary. One of our staff members will be emailing you back within the next 48 hours, week, whatever it is. So somebody says, hey, I put it in there, I got a response, then it's on us to make sure that it's followed up. If it's a particular topic that maybe one of the trustees is dealing with, then maybe individual would then bounce it there. Hi, thank you so much for your concern. This is what we're looking at, et cetera, et cetera. And if we see a number of these things, we can also then have somebody post onto our Facebook. We receive these kind of comments. I've gotten 7 comments on this, and this is what we're doing about it. So it's now back on the Facebook page without having that other issue. So I think this is an area we need to really dig into and find out what works best on all sides. Yes, we want to make sure that people get their information to us or their concerns to us, but again, we don't want to cause controversy as well.
I like your idea very much, Trustee London. With the response, I think there should be an easy way for people to easily get to and send an email to us. Would there be a violation if we were to have click this and it goes like to you, then blind, to the village administrator, then blind copies the other trustees, and that way we can't reply all? I'm asking.
No, it's an excellent question, trustee. Yes, I have municipalities where when public comment comes in, like that, the manager, administrator, chief of staff, they are directed, when there are concerns from the public, they are directed to forward it in either blind copy or individually or two at a time to ensure that there is information that's being disseminated to all the members of corporate authorities. I don't know about the mechanism. I am not a tech person, and I apologize for that. We have a very good one here. But I know that it's been done in a different type of manner, but I think the ends are the same, the means are a little bit different.
Yeah, there should be some, I mean, Scott, you do IT, so.
That's definitely solvable. So on the Facebook page, there is a link, and it takes you to it. It's called Learn More. If you click on that right now, it just takes you to the village's website. I'm sure we can find a way to get something, whether it's pinned on the top or in that fashion, we'll find something that works well with mobile. That'll get you to the action line, which is where you can fill in information, and then it comes to us. If you pick Public Works, because maybe you've got a pothole or something with your sidewalk, or if you pick administration, then we can get it. And if there are concerns that come in, we can send that out as a report to the board, whether it comes through myself or the clerk, just to say, we've been getting, this information has come in, just to make you aware of it, not to start a discussion, but to inform you that information has come in.
So, something like public comment dot, and click, so that people know that that's where it is.
Yeah, we could make an alias for public comment at sugargroveisle.gov and just have that get forwarded to the clerk, and then we can distribute it appropriately. That's not a problem.
Big button for those of us who are find things, click.
Can I make a comment? The one thing I have issue with that is people don't understand what political comments are. So if I make a comment, and you make a comment, you don't let nobody else, other consequences make it. You can't really discuss with other residents to understand what people's views on the issue. You just tell the board, and it kind of goes in the vacuum.
The residents might not want to speak only to the board, they might want to have a conversation amongst each other.
The problem with Facebook pages, people are blocked from certain pages. So, there's a couple of sugar pages that people are blocked from each one of them. So no one can see what people post in different groups. So I'm not sure that's the right answer. I just think there's a lot to think about.
Are there any other discussion comments on the topic of social media policy?
If you don't mind. So it sounds like staff needs to go out and do a little bit more research, perhaps, and come back with options for contacting, email, different things that we can do with our page, different ways to send a communication, and we'll bring an update back on the 20th. Is that? I'm trying to understand the consensus. That's okay.
Yeah, more information. Obviously, we've got a lot of concerns.
Yeah, keep it as a discussion item.
Yeah.
Is there a way to post, like, somehow staff can post people's comments if they wanted to on a certain topic? There's one topic that's really, I'm not saying all the time, but there's some, I don't want to be overburdening anybody, but I'm just saying there's some.
If we get into where we're moderating or we're deciding, like, your comment's more important than somebody else's in the village, that is very, very dangerous for us. It needs to kind of be all or none, and only removed under very, very, very specific circumstances.
All right, the topic of social media policy will be continued for discussion on May 20th. We now have staff reports.
Happy to go first?
Yes.
So been working a little bit on the transition, of course, and then the PD remodel has been the biggest topic. Myself, Chief, and Brad, thanks for helping out, have been working with Cordic and Clark to get us ready to move on to that. I also spent quite a bit of time in economic development transition, working with Michael on some outstanding items that he had at his desk and different things on that front. So that's been the majority of the focus that I've had. I'm happy to answer any questions.
I'm sorry. Are you, with Michael retiring with economic development, have you assumed that position right now?
Yeah, so in the vacancy of a director, I fill in. Our administrative assistant, Becky Wilt from Economic Development, is reporting directly to me. We have a standing Monday meeting. We're working through some things. I will also be bringing as a discussion item to the village board kind of the future, similar to how we did social media, the future of economic development and what this board would like to do in the future. So that'll be coming to a meeting very soon.
Okay, yeah, because we don't know if there were any opportunities or, you know, where Mike was, obviously we're brand new and we don't know what was, so we don't want to miss an opportunity.
We'll all be part of the discussion.
So that upward delegation works, huh?
Certainly there's things on a daily basis that Michael can do that I don't have the time afforded to do,
Yeah.
but I'm filling in the best that I possibly can.
Okay.
You know. We had the 2 special meetings previously. Those are just the ones, that's just the things that I worked on leading up to this. We had the 2 special meetings a couple weeks ago. So there was time spent to prepare those and put all that together. So usually in our reports, it talks about, just as a background for the new trustees, the reports from staff detail the work that we and our departments have done since the preceding village board meeting to inform the board of the work that we've been doing and update you and then answer questions on some of the higher end items that we've worked on.
Are there any other staff reports?
Typically just go around the room if you want me to do it, or?
So is it every trustee?
So we do the
Okay.
staff reports and then trustees and then yourself is.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, do you want?
No problem. Matt?
Nothing additional to add to the report. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Brad, anything from Public Works?
Nothing to add. The bridge was going, confirmation of the bridge is being painted.
You want to just go over what the bridge project a little bit, please?
Yeah, the village has been working for multiple years on a multi-agency project to get a pedestrian bridge across Blackberry Creek from Windsor Point over to the River Trail. It was awarded deconstruction last year, and they finished all the concrete work, preparing for the actual steel structure. It's been constructed, and we're waiting for it to get painted so that they can then mobilize the crane and set it in place. And then they'll continue to, complete the paths up to it. So we're looking sometime, hopefully in June, the project is complete.
Thanks, Brad. Any questions, Brad? Danny?
The only thing I would like to add is that we issued Jiffy Lube's permit yesterday, so they will be in construction shortly.
And I believe from economic development perspective, but Becky is working on a groundbreaking with the good folks at Jiffy Lube upcoming now that they've got their permit. So, Chief?
So, just want to highlight tomorrow, it's open to the public. The King County Police Memorial is taking place at Newsmart, the House of God. The King County Chiefs typically will hold their meeting, their memorial will be before actually National Police Week, so that will allow officers or executive members of the police agency to attend other events, including the one in Washington, D.C. That's taking place on the 15th of May. Couple items that forgot to include was on April 26th, the police officers that were interested in becoming a sergeant, as part of the Board of Police Commission rules, they took a written test here on April 26th, and they will be moving forward for oral interviews coming up here at the next board meeting, at their next meeting, and then some additional categories will be opportunities for them to look at advancing their careers. We put together the police sergeant's list is typically good for 3 years unless it's exhausted sooner. So it's a normal process that the Board of Police Commissioners have to do. And lastly, I just wanted to say thank you to Public Works. This morning, the street signs, the traffic stop signs went up in Windsor Point, making a 4-way stop sign at the park. We received Bellevue and Exeter, as well as converting 2 yield signs at Somerset, Hampton, and Hampton at Exeter and adjacent to the park. So flags have been put on, all the new signage, as well as advanced warning message boards are in place, and they'll probably be up there early. So the Public Works crew, I was impressed. I couldn't it would have taken me forever to put up a sign, and it was like bread and butter for them. We put it together, and they were gone and didn't have any signs, and I was just impressed with what they did. So we'll probably, give the residents some time, but, and just to educate them at those movies. Happy to answer any other questions that you may have from a staff report or anything else.
That concludes the staff reports. Madam President.
Thank you. For the trustees report, hi, Trustee Lundy, did you have anything to report today?
Yeah, I had a couple of items. One, I attended the Arbor Day celebration, Public Works, put up a beautiful tree by the community center, and I attended the honorary sign for Joe Wolf, and that was very nice. Got to talk to his family, get some stories that I had of him. Also, I request that we bring the department head contract renewal up at our next meeting. I think at this time and kind of change in village leadership, it's important to not leave our department heads kind of hanging with their contracts. So the sooner to get them looked at for renewal, the better. I'd ask that if there's another trustee that that agrees with this, that they might say so we can put it on the agenda.
I think that's a good idea for all the department heads. I believe at this time you are recommending department heads only and the village administrator contract up for further discussion in the future.
Correct.
So the department heads, what the board passed, I don't know if you discussed or not in this, but they're like bridge contracts because everybody's contract ends at the term of the previous village president. So it's been customary that every 4 years they pass a bridge contract for, I think, 3 months. But as a department head, as a former department head, it's always nerve-wracking, especially when there's a change in administration. But there's, unless there's other concerns, and I don't know of any because I've worked with everybody here, I'd like to agree with Heidi and bring the department head contracts forward at the next meeting. And I know we probably have at some point an executive session with the administrator to talk about stuff and items to go over. So I would agree with Trustee. Lindy?
I'd like to propose an amendment to your motion. There is a lot going on this month, and as we were just sworn in today, we would like a little bit more time to review everything and meet with everyone. Instead of the May 20th meeting, could we review 30 days later at, for example, somewhere around mid-June?
I am concerned about that lag. All we're asking is to put it on the agenda to discuss, not to necessarily.
Not to sign to extend.
We would have to go to executive
Discussion
session
and
and discuss it, so I want the ball rolling. And I think technically it just takes 2 trustees to put something on the agenda, is that correct?
That's correct. It takes 2 trustees to put something.
Right, so she's recommending executive session to discuss it. at the
Correct.
next meeting.
Executive session to discuss it.
What she wants to do is bring up before a closed session. She's not asking for approval of those contracts.
I'm not asking for, we have to discuss it to have approval. I'm asking for a discussion.
Right.
Put it on the agenda so we can discuss it, because you need to start the ball rolling soon.
Thank you for the clarification. So we have a first on the motion from Trustee Lindy and a second from Trustee Lee.
I recommend voting it's not on the agenda. Yeah, it's just a consensus.
Okay, so it will be placed on the agenda then for May 20th for discussion.
Thank you.
Trustee Lundy, did you have anything additional to report?
No, not at this time.
Trustee London, did you have anything to report?
Nothing to report at this time.
Thank you. I have a few things that I know we have just started, but it is a good idea. I know it was in our information. A tour of the departments and the facilities with the department heads, I think, especially when you're new to the board. I know as a department head, I always appreciate it when new members of the board did come out to Public Works, and I know Pat and Matt, and I know some of the facilities are a little different in what they have and what they do, but obviously like Public Works, and I think most people find it amazing, the equipment that it takes and we have. So I do want to recommend that for everybody that's I have a question, and I don't know if the rest of the board would be interested or not, but I know 4 years ago, when we had a change with the board, we had department presentations where each department presented what they did, and they were scheduled not for all the same on the same night, because it does take a little bit of time, but with PowerPoints and stuff. So I thought that's a good idea. I don't know, it's up to the consensus if anybody wants to do that. This is changing subjects now, but I always have a concern on lawsuits, so I'm not up to speed on what your veto was or whatever, so I'm just concerned on lawsuits. That's my point on that. We prefer here, obviously, and you know, obviously, nobody wants to get a lawsuit. I just want to make sure we don't do something that gets us in a bind with anybody, whether it's the developer, and I know there's lawsuit pending out there with the school and stuff that we need to talk about. Maybe, you know, I don't know if they actually voted to actually go ahead with that one, but I think we want to make sure it sounded like, I listened to the information at that board meeting from the school district, and it sounded like they would be interested in talking about it before they proceeded with it, is the way I kind of heard what they said. I don't know if there's some updates.
Obviously, as you are aware, generally when we talk about matters involving litigation, we talk about a closed session. And I would ask if we could go into closed session this evening, Madam President, Mr. Administrator, ladies and gentlemen of the board, to discuss threatened or pending litigation. I will ask that after we go through the rest of the trustees' reports.
Okay, that sounds good. So that concludes my comments in that. So.
Thank you. Trustee Michaels, did you have anything to report?
So the public knows Sugar Grove Park District has fenced off the Black Walnut Trails Park so that they can remodel it. It's been a project on their to-do list for a while, and it's now under construction. So that park will not be accessible this summer.
Thank you. Trustee Roscoff, did you have anything to report?
Another report, but I like Tony's comments about getting to know apartments, what they do. I think it's new people understand, you know, because we're seeing stuff, all these packages, to understand what's actually going behind the scenes will help us a lot in the future, I think.
That would be helpful.
It's a great comment.
That would be helpful. Is it?
Absolutely. So 2 more points on that. I'll discuss with President Stovall about including it on future agendas. And if you would like to get a tour or see any of the facilities, please contact myself or Tracy, and we'll get you connected with the department head to get a tour set up. Obviously, it would need to be a minimum of 2 at a time, but we're more than happy to put that together. Any facilities you want to see, any questions you have for department heads, we're happy to facilitate those meetings.
Maximum 2 at a time.
Maximum 2 at a time.
You said minimum.
Oh, maximum. I'm sorry. Very importantly, maximum 2 at a time.
Trustee Bonnie, did you have anything to report?
Nothing on this side.
For President's reports, I just have a couple of things. There are a few liaison positions that do not yet have volunteers, and I don't think I remember that list. I will get to all of you the remaining positions that need volunteers. I think some of them are for Sugar Grove Township, West Aurora, things like that. So if anybody wants to take on additional liaison projects, feel free to contact me or Scott or Tracy. The beautification committee, we already have several people who would like to volunteer. I'd like to propose it as a beautification and garden committee, where we can work on both beautification projects similar to the last committee that sunsetted in April, and then also on the Monarch project. So possibly we can have a resolution to bring back the beautification committee at the May 20th meeting. And then the Monarch project, one idea I had, I'd like to encourage the residents to plant native gardens, even if they're in like a big pot or something like that. And then we could have like ceremonial garden markers for any resident who wants to participate. And that way we can keep track of how many gardens we've increased it by, and it can be a fun thing for the whole community. And that is all I have.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Are you proposing the village doing it with butterflies, or just encourage residents to do it? Done on our property, you know?
It would, so I'm proposing it would be a part of the beautification and garden committee, but also on the village Facebook, there might be a post about the mayor's Monarch pledge and how people could participate, but that would be the extent of village involvement in the park. Are there any other questions, discussion items? Hearing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
So typically what we've done, there is a need for executive session if the board will allow. Typically, we would ask for a motion, if I may, a motion to enter an executive session to discuss pending or imminent litigation and threaten pending imminent litigation, and then after the executive session, the meeting would adjourn, so there would be no action or discussion taken by the board in open session after the executive session.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
We have a first by trustee Special and a second by trustee Michael. The motion carries, and we will proceed. Roll call, please, Tracy.
Trustee Lundy. Aye. I'm sorry. Trustee Special.
Aye.
Trustee Michael.
Aye.
Trustee Lundy.
Aye.
Trustee Bonnie.
Aye.
Trustee London.
Aye.
Trustee Russell.
Aye.
The motion carries 3-0, and we will proceed